what we have to do right now is we have to go to Gemini and we got to say, can you explain this as if I was a 10-year-old? Okay, here is a simple explanation of that video as if for a 10-year-old. Your script is asking a huge question. Why do we feel things? We're not just like robots that see a dog and follow a program that says, pet the dog. We actually see the dog, feel happy, and decide to pet it. That feeling inside your head, the you that is experiencing everything, is consciousness. The hard problem is the name for this big mystery. How does a squishy brain made of cells create the feeling of being you? The script says we can use science to find the best answer, and it explains a really cool idea for how it all works. One of the main ideas in the script is called the Global Workspace Theory. Here's an easy way to think about it. Your brain is like a big, dark theater. There are many different actors backstage, each doing its own job. There's a vision actor, a hearing actor, a memory actor, and a language actor. Most of their work is unconscious. They are all working in the dark, processing information without you ever knowing it. Consciousness is the spotlight. When something becomes really important, it wins a competition and gets pushed onto the main stage, right into a giant, bright spotlight. Everyone can see it. Once it's on the stage, all the other actors, language, memory, emotions, can see what's in the spotlight and talk about it. I'm curious how this analogy is going to work with the recursive aspect of this. The script gives a great example of seeing a chair. Backstage, unconscious, your vision actor sees a shape that looks like a chair. It's just processing the image in the dark. Your brain decides this is important. Bam! The chair image is pushed onto the global workspace stage and into the spotlight. Now you are consciously aware of the chair. The audience reacts. Your language actor in the audience sees it and shouts, "That's a chair." Your memory actor shouts, "I sat in that chair yesterday." Your emotion actor shouts, "That's a comfy chair, I like it." A full thought. All of that shouting together becomes your one complete conscious thought. I am looking at that comfy chair I sat in yesterday. Yeah, so there's this idea that different systems in the brain are both accessing information from this global network, but also contributing information back into it. So let's actually go into the way that we describe this. Let's hammer home this coordination with an example. Think about when we scan a room. Our visual networks are active, but our semantic and linguistic systems might not be consciously involved. We have perception without noticeable linguistic labeling. Then we pause and reflect on what we're looking at, and the words appear in our mind. That is a chair. What just happened? The visual information of the chair was already being processed unconsciously by visual networks. Our top-down attentional systems selected and amplified that specific visual signal. This amplification caused the visual information to be broadcast to the global workspace, making it consciously accessible. Our language and semantic hubs received that broadcast, processed it, and fed their own information back into the workspace. In this case, the verbal label chair. Simultaneously, other networks contributed, imbuing the chair concept with emotional significance or related memories. This new integrated global workspace state, which now contains the articulated chair, the visuals, the feelings, becomes the next piece of content available for processing. So our reflective self system, part of the prefrontal cortex, can then access that entire state, allowing us to form the thought, I am now consciously aware that I am looking at a chair. Then we say, as an interesting aside, studies have found that it takes roughly 300 seconds after exposing someone to a novel stimulus for the entire process to complete and for it to become conscious. So to summarize, consciousness emerges from this mutual reinforcement among all these different systems, all translating and contributing a unique aspect of conscious experience back to the shared workspace. Language provides another intuitive example of this. We usually think of language as one system, but this framework shows that it's really a collection of specialized processors, each contributing a different aspect of the experience, from word retrieval to semantic meaning to motor planning for speech. The function most closely tied to conscious reporting is linguistic self-monitoring. This is the system that allows us to hear ourselves think. It's essentially the workspace accessing the output of our other language systems, which forms the inner monologue we experience as our thoughts. Without this monitoring component, we might still generate words, but we wouldn't be able to consciously reflect on them as words, let alone as our words. This distinction explains the "that word is on the tip of my tongue" feeling as a case where a word is retrieved locally but fails to get broadcast globally. Okay, similarly, speaking without thinking occurs when a motor action proceeds without a full reflective broadcast. These are just those different systems contributing to the workspace with different timings and strengths. Right, to go full circle, the Global Workspace Framework provides the mechanism behind what Damasio describes as mappings of mappings. When our language system reads a visual broadcast and writes a chair label back, it is literally generating a new map based on a previous map. Though, as you could see, even that is an oversimplification. This is a highly complex, recursive system where all systems are constantly reading from and adding to the global workspace. So think mappings of mappings of mappings and on. Okay, what is a thought made of? So is a thought one single thing? The script says no, it's more like an orchestra. The conductor is the rhythm that keeps all the brain cells in sync. The musicians playing notes are the actual information, like the chair image or the happy feeling. You can't have the music without both. Consciousness is the whole song that the orchestra plays together, changing from one moment to the next. Is the hard problem even real? Script ends with two ideas. Filling the gap. We keep doing science, like with the spotlight and orchestra theories, until we fill in the gap and understand how the brain's music becomes our feelings. Dissolving the gap, maybe the hard problem isn't one giant mystery. So yeah, this is at such a low level that it's not able to pick up any of the nuance of the filling the gap argument. But the dissolving the gap, maybe it's just a bunch of smaller, easier problems, like why does red look like red? Or why does cheese taste like cheese? The script says that if we solve all those little problems one by one, maybe the big hard problem might just disappear. Basically, the script says that even the feeling that this is a giant mystery is just another thing your brain is doing. And while it's fun to think about, we don't need to solve it to use our minds to learn, set goals, and live a happy life. All right, I might call it there. I do appreciate the feedback. We are getting this thing slightly better each time. Thank you very much. And yeah, have a good rest of the day or night. See you later.